Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, with our main topic this morning in the breakfast show. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, since he came to office, he was keen on empowering women and youth, and that was clear as he allocated a special year for youth and a special year for women. And also, when President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi was the president of the African Union, he was keen on the idea of the women empowerment, not only in Egypt but in the whole African continent. To shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to host today our dear guest, Dr. Sahar Nazmy, economic expert. Good morning, Dr. Nazmy.
Good morning to you.
Dr. Nazmy, how do you see the role that is played by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in empowering women and youth?
His role is very essential, very responsive, powered by a very strong political will. He put women and youth on top of his agenda. On women empowerment, he pushed all entities that are concerned with women, including the Women Council, international cooperation, to create platforms and structures to further help empowering women.
Yes.
On the youth side, he personally got involved, talking to the youth, understanding their needs, looking into their challenges, filling gaps of misunderstanding. We saw multiple of youth forums sponsored and headed by President Sisi in person. Listening to them for the first time, we see a president very keen to look into the youth, to look into their dreams, ideas, challenges, problems, and correct them on the spot. President Sisi, on the youth front as well, he gave instructions that the youth are required and needed in the cabinet, in the administration, because they will introduce new ideas, they will refresh all principles, all the regime of the business work process, and we saw a lot of youth are well introduced in the administration of President Sisi.
Yes, Dr. Nazmy, how do you see the success of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in expressing how much he cares, and he is giving very good attention to women, and especially women empowerment, and that was clear in the reaction of the Egyptian women to all the initiatives and calls by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi of the importance of the Egyptian women. Since President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi came to office, we can see, for example, when women participated in the elections or referendums or anything of that sort, we see long queues of Egyptian women standing and supporting the state and supporting the president and abiding by the calls he is calling on the Egyptian women to participate. That's a very simple example.
Yes.
So how do you see the success of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to express how much he cares to the Egyptian women, taking in consideration that this is there's no direct contact between the Egyptian women and the president? Of course, they're
yes.
not
communicating face
directly.
to face. Yes, true. However, he looked into the participation of women by herself. She is driven by herself to the welfare of her country.
Yes.
She pushes her children, her family, her neighbors to election, to stand in queues for election, for the rights, for the voices to be heard.
Yes.
He could sense that 50% of this population, women, has the power to make it and to achieve. So he decided to put his effort behind this casual nature of a woman, that she is there for her country.
Yes.
He could sense the patriotism of women.
Yes.
He could sense how active they are, and how keen women are for the welfare of the future of their children. I could see
a good, a nice picture.
It is,
Yes.
it is a very nice picture, a very good picture, comprehensive, well introduced. It was a picture that really introduced women will in this society, women power in the community. He was convinced, and he understood what kind of message they are trying to send to him.
Yes. Yes.
And he got the
We're supporting
message.
you, and we're supporting our country.
Exactly.
Yes.
And we need you to further give us your push.
Yes.
And that's what happened. When he received the support from women, when he could see this power there in this community, he managed to look into how to further empower this strong element in the community.
Yes.
Especially that communities cannot develop with a sustainable development plan without 50% of its capacity.
Yes. Yes.
I think that was one of the major things that had pushed the president to put a lot of effort behind empowering women.
Let me also add that we noticed that President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, with the challenge of the coronavirus, he also sent message to the Egyptian women to support her family and to take good care of her family, and to try to lead the whole family, and to provide them with awareness concerning this. So he's always sending messages to the Egyptian woman.
He knows, he understands, he has a very good supporter and communicator and positive entity in each household across the country. He knows, and he is quite sure. So he gives her the responsibility. He relays a very nice way a responsibility. Your family is in your responsibility. In Upper Egypt, women started to produce kimama instead of clothing. One of the factories managed by women, they started to provide kimama, and they were producing masks, and they were producing like 3,000 masks per day to be distributed among the population. He knows that they are capable.
The Egyptian woman is coping with all the circumstances.
She's answering all his statements. She knows and she understands, and she can get the message quite clear.
And we can see the good relation, all of the feelings coming out of the Egyptian women. The way they write to the president on the social media and Facebook, they put his picture, and they are always sending,
they approach him, not only because he is the #1 on top of the pyramid of the administration, but also they know that he will listen, he will react accordingly.
So this is a kind of trust.
Absolutely, and confidence, confidence, assurance. I know this guy will do the thing for me. I know this one, I will get results. So I will talk to him. Definitely and directly, and he responds in a very professional and comprehensive way.
So Dr. Nazmy, what is the role of the Egyptian women in the economic development?
She has to be in control of her life.
Independent, you mean?
Independent, starting from education. She has to get her right in education. She must fight for her education, even with all social barriers and where girls are not allowed to go to school. She has to fight, she has to understand. The cornerstone of her life is starting with education. Education will allow her to be in the future, on the long run, economically independent, not only for herself, but for her family. Cost of living is increasing, and two incomes will definitely make a change in the life of the children, in their education, in their welfare, in the overall happiness of the family, satisfaction. And I think women are responsible for getting her family members satisfied with living, creating a better lifestyle for her family. On the corporate level, definitely this will improve the economic sphere of this community of Egypt.
Yes.
I believe women has to get involved, and we're sure she will get results.
Yes, yes, yes. So concerning youth, we can see good efforts exerted with the youth concerning the small and medium enterprises.
The youth always had a slogan, a very loud slogan: we have no chance in this country. There are no opportunities. Dreams are not to be fulfilled.
Yes.
We have to travel. We have to immigrate through legal and illegal ways of immigration.
Yes.
Today, opportunities are there, not only in the job, but in creating businesses, to small businesses and medium-sized businesses. Banks and all financial institutions have received instructions that they should allocate a certain amount of money for small and medium-sized enterprises, especially through startups and youth,
Yes.
to allow them achieve their own dreams, start their own businesses,
Yes.
be their own bosses instead of working for somebody else.
Yes, yes, yes. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, Egypt held several youth conferences.
Yes.
That was under the auspices of and the attendance, of course, of and the participation of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. How do you see the keenness of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi on these conferences in exchanging point of views between the president and the youth, and between the youth among each other, and in the communicating or connecting the Egyptian youth with their experiences with the youth abroad?
That's 2 points.
Yes.
We have on the local level a continuous scenario, communication among the president and the youth. And this is very beneficial. This has created trust and confidence in the administration and the top of this administration in this country.
Yes.
The youth introduced their dreams to him, their challenges, their problems, their needs, and he answered. He answered by providing opportunities, by providing training, getting the youth ready to be leaders. He answered by telling them, I trust you. And because I trust you, I will further invest in you. Yes. He provided Nasser Academy training across the boards, whoever is introduced there, to be a strategic leader.
Yes.
And this is really very important, to have leaders from the youth with a strategic background. It will help a lot for the development of this country.
Yes.
On the international youth front, for the youth who never traveled abroad and never had a communication with international entities, he invited youth from across the world to exchange ideas, maybe to see whether they have the same problems that the locals are facing or not. Maybe to look into solutions. How did they manage to overcome their challenges abroad? How did the system abroad provide support to the youth internationally? And how can we adapt those ideas to the local community, to the local country, to Egypt? That was a very successful forum, and I believe the youth has benefited a lot from that forum.
Yes. Could we shed light on the role of the Egyptian, the national role of the national role of the Egyptian women through history in Egypt, of course? How do you evaluate and see the role played by the Egyptian women on the national side?
On the national side, I saw a lot of women in the history that were fighting for education,
independence,
for liberty, for
Spreading
closing the gap.
awareness and culture.
Exactly, and the gender gap, closing the gender gap.
Yes.
Women were refused in some positions. They fought for these positions,
Yes.
and they got it. Equality
Yes.
with their counterparts.
So now the Egyptian woman became a judge and became a minister. And
Yes, we have 8 ministries today led by women, and this is very inspiring. This will help even the youth, the gender female, to dream.
Yes.
And to see that there is an opportunity to sit on this chair if she is qualified.
yes.
Women has never stopped to fight for the rights,
Yes,
actually.
Yes.
And,
So lifting the gender and making equality between women and men, how would this give a good outcome
Yes.
in boosting the development on the economical side, and also for sustainable development also?
Yes. The International Cooperation Minister, in collaboration with the woman community,
Yes.
Mrs. Maya Morsi,
Yes.
they together
The
with
National Council for Women.
National Council for
Dr.
Women,
Maya Morsi.
yes, they collaborated with the International Forum.
Yes.
3 entities, 3 stakeholders,
Yeah.
private and public sector together, and they launched Closing the Gap Gender Accelerator. This accelerator will help to diminish this inequality among the genders and giving opportunities.
Yes.
And subsequently that will impact our economic society.
Yes.
The US aid, on the other front, they have provided
Yes.
to the Minister of Education $500 million to improve the basic education system. One of the targets is to allow more girls into education in the basic years.
Yes. Yes.
And that, of course, will impact the economy perfectly well.
Yes. A quick look at the challenges that have faced the Egyptian women in the past years. What are the kinds of challenges?
The challenges were no education,
Yes.
and if she gets basic education, she doesn't maintain the education to faculty. Marriage is the magic word for families.
Yes.
I'm talking across the board, not the urban community only, but urban and rural. So she was deprived of education. Always the male, the brother, the son is preferred over the girl or the daughter. In some jobs, women are not allowed to join these jobs. We have never seen leaders or executive on board of directors on companies. We now can see
Yes.
senior executives and members of board and maybe chairmen of boards across different categories of companies. This initiative led by the international cooperation, they have gained the attention of 100 private sector companies.
Yes.
And started to introduce the culture of closing the gap, because this has to be on the ground. Yes. It's not only like a highlight in a newspaper for the minister. This has to be really executed on the grounds.
Yes. Yes. Dr. Nazmy, what is the role that is played by the state in order to improve the lives of the youth on the social, educational and health levels? Social, educational,
Yes.
and health level.
A lot of initiatives are being introduced on the health level.
Yes.
Digital and social media is being also introduced by the state.
Yes.
to whom are interested in digital technology.
Yes.
Everybody knows that technology is the future of the whole world. They are preparing the youth for this. On the health level, we saw a lot of initiative that was run by Tahya Masr,
Yes.
introducing the awareness of getting healthy community among both women and men across the board in the community.
Yes.
There is a lot of effort that we see and we listen to every day.
Yes. I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And for your great information and valuable information,
Thank you.
actually.
Thank you.
I really had the pleasure to host you this morning. Thank you very much.
Thanks
Dr.
a lot.
Sahar Nazmy, economic expert. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I thank you very much for joining me. I leave you now with my colleague Karim Gamal.